Hey, everybody, welcome back to Fourth and Neat. This is a solo episode with Jared Allen and me. This is going to be a fun one because we never know really what we're going to talk about, Jared. We just have like a general kind of outline and just kind of shoot from the hip, you know?
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes it's just good to bring it back to the basics. Two friends having a conversation about whatever the heck we want to have a conversation about. And if it's entertaining to people listening, well, then that is awesome.
So be it. And if not, well, then go away.
If you don't like what we have to say, I mean, no one's twisting your arm to tune in over here.
And I'm going to say the first subject we've got is Tulsa King.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Like, we were texting about, obviously.
Spoilers. If you haven't watched this and you don't want to listen, like you want to check it out, stop here. All right.
We won't go too deep into the rabbit hole, but there were some inconsistencies. And obviously, you being an Okie, I texted you about this. We were texting back and forth. And I was like, dude, come on. They're kind of getting in the weeds by saying there's like this really good bourbon in Oklahoma. Maybe there is. I'm not sure. I don't know if Okie is the new Indiana. I don't know if it's the new Kentucky. I don't even know. You know what I mean? I mean, Indiana did a good job, establishing itself with some whiskey outside of Kentucky, but Texas is trying. I don't know if Oklahoma's quite there yet, but you know what? Taylor Sheridan and them are darn sure going to push that. But here's my problem with it. I love shows that have some sort of like historical accuracy, right? To where nothing's too far-fetched. And I'm a big fan of Tulsa Kings. But when they said, so Cliff Note version, there's a fight over this 50-year bourbon, supposedly that was laid up for 50 years. And they found the stash, they got the stash. And the daughter of the person who distilled it, all this, said there was 150 bottles in each barrel. They had 200 barrels. So they're talking about, it's $150 million at $5,000 a bottle, this, that, and the other, right? That's not even possible. 50 years, you're not getting 150 bottles out of a barrel.
Right. It's
not a chance.
It's actually impossible. So to back up, there has never been a bourbon released that is 50 years old. Never. Not in the history of man. It has not happened. And let me explain why.
What is the oldest? Okay, sorry. I got a lot of questions.
So the oldest is 47. So the oldest is 47. So it has been close. But it wasn't even like, it was just god-awful. It was probably the top 5 worst tasting things I've ever had in my life. So back up. Now, I know a lot of the viewers and listeners who know me are probably into bourbon. But for those who are new, don't know me, my background is I am a bourbon critic, an author, and basically I'm a historian in bourbon. So this is actually my wheelhouse to be able to talk about.
I love it. Expertise.
To be bourbon, it has to go into a new charred oak barrel, whereas like other styles of whiskey are going into used barrels. In a used barrel, if you can hold it in a cooler, you can hold it in cooler climates later. You don't get as much interaction with the wood as you do with like a new charred oak barrel, which by law bourbon has to go into. So first of all, from a flavor perspective, if you hold a bourbon that long, you're getting the greenness of the wood. You're going to be extracting the deepest resins that's within there. That you're probably actually going to be touching the steel hoops and going back and forth. That's how deep the whiskey's going to be penetrating this barrel over 50 years. And oh, by the way, every single year, due to how barrels are kept and how thin alcohol is, you lose between 3 and 6% a year in evaporation. So if you keep a barrel for 50 years, the chances of you having 100% evaporation of that barrel are extremely high. If by some chance you were able to keep some of it, that's because somebody was going in there and making sure there were no like microscopic holes every single day. Let's say that does happen. Still, there is going to be a natural kind of like vapor leave from the barrel that it just you wouldn't be able to get it in, and you wouldn't be able to get a full 150 bottles out of there. At most, I would say you'd probably be able to get 20. At most,
right? And then what about the viscosity? Because isn't that over 50 years? Isn't that going to
It would,
draw some of the sap for the? I mean, I know,
yeah,
but I
it's
mean,
going
it's
to
like
be,
thicker, right?
it's going to be, the one that I had that was 47 years old, taste was so bad they had to finish it in another barrel. They had to put it in a sherry barrel just to get
Yeah,
to just kind of hone down that flavor a little bit.
yeah. They
And then
blended it with a 2-year.
yeah, and then it was still so bad they were like, "Shit, we got to do something here. Let's
Like,
just donate all the money to charity." And so
yes,
they
yes.
played on people's heartstrings for charity, and you know, and when that came out and I tasted it, I was like, this is awful. But I actually did find a bourbon that was older. There was a 48-year-old bourbon that was claimed to have been released in the 1800s. Which, when people said something was 48 years old in the 1800s, it probably really wasn't.
Yeah.
They lied a lot in their advertisements. So I got so caught up in this. I tweeted about it after I watched the episode, and you know, I'm pretty sure that the producers or Amazon or whoever is behind the show had their bots come at me a little bit. Like, just enjoy the writing, just enjoy the show.
Quit fact checking us, Fred. Enough is enough already.
It's fiction.
Enough is enough.
No one cares.
And maybe that was the point. Maybe they said they threw out a 50-year bourbon at 150 bottles, so nobody would fact check them and be like, "This is ridiculous." But when you throw a thing out there to say it's going to be $5,000 a bottle and that people are killing each other over it, and this is like the greatest thing, I'm like, man. First of all, it's Oklahoma. And they're going to sell Oklahoma 50-year-old bourbon at $5,000 a bottle. Well played. A well-played Sliced Stallone. Well played.
Right.
But I just had to ask. I was like, hey, I know there's no chance. And then, but my curiosity as a bourbon fan, I just I couldn't even imagine what that would taste like. So let me ask you this. Let's say, right, you wanted to extend the lifespan and actually try to push something, let's say to 50 years. Let's just say hypothetically we want to go to 50 years on a bourbon, right? Is there anything in the law that says at, let's say, a year 10, 12, 15, I couldn't rebarrel that?
Yeah. So
it's
here,
still being an oak barrel.
So what you're looking to do would be like what they do in rum, which is called topping off.
Okay.
So let's say you have like 6 barrels, and then you continuously fill those barrels, put those barrels together. Yeah, there's pretty strict rules on that. Like once it leaves the barrel, it's like, you're kind of in the batching process. Okay. But the intent of that would be you could actually pull that off. You could probably pull that off over a 50-year period.
Well, I was just saying, not even topping it off, but like if you just took that and then put it, let's say, hey, I got a 25-year-old barrel. I just had an old barrel sitting there, right? Like, because like you said, and other whiskeys that are putting them in used barrels, you get less evaporation, less absorption, less, kind of flavor notes, right? So obviously the one of the factors of being in a barrel that long is the amount of flavor you're going to draw from the wood. That's not always going to be great.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So you could, I was curious if you could, segment those aging processes out to where, okay, you know what? I'm going to try to control this flavor profile. All right. I got a 15-year in this barrel. Now I want to go put it in a used barrel for another 5 years. So it's not to stop pulling.
Yeah.
That
you
down.
just couldn't call it bourbon. You just couldn't call it bourbon. You could absolutely do that and just call it whiskey,
okay.
or
because
put
once it comes out of that barrel, you can't go rebarrel it and still call it bourbon.
So if you put it into a used barrel, it ceases to be bourbon. It would it ends right there. But it could go into that barrel finish category, or you could just generally call it a whiskey. There's another method that is being tested right now at Buffalo Trace, that probably when we're long gone, there might actually be a 50-year-old bourbon, and they basically have the barrels in like a refrigeration unit. So they slow the
process down,
the process down a little bit. So we'll see if that can yield something. But aside from the 50-year-old part, okay, the big thing is that they're saying that it's from Oklahoma, my home state. you know,
It pains you. It pains you to talk bad about the Hokies.
I mean, if this was set in Kentucky or even somewhere like Indiana or another state that had like a historic distilling background like Pennsylvania, I could say like I could maybe get on board with it for the fact of fiction. Oklahoma just got like its first legal distillery in like like within the last couple decades. Went out of business. There was a guy making vodka there and he like blew up his garage or something. It's not even a moonshine state.
No,
it's like
stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
It was
a
tri-state beef, great, absolutely great, and red dirt music. But I just it really like and here's some background as to why whiskey making never really became a thing in Oklahoma is that it was
excuse me
the tribes had massive prohibitions on their reservations, and so you had that just kind of like bled out into the state, and just alcohol creation was not a thing. And there are some historically unique styles of alcohol from Oklahoma, like there's one called chalk beer, which is a very corn-centric beer that has kind of like a sour mash to it. But even it never really took off. It's just not, now you have distilleries throughout the state, but that's just because distillation became popular. But so just absolute fail by the Tulsa King writers in so many ways. And it's like so bad.
That said, though, the show is still great. The episodes are still great.
Oh man.
It just lacks any historical context or reality that would yield what it would yield, and that people would kill themselves over that or kill people over that.
And I got to be honest with you, that is what like a gang from Oklahoma would look like, and if an Italian mob boss was running it, it's exactly what it would look like.
So that part is true.
Yeah,
that part is amazingly
that's
true.
very accurate. And they used, they got like they've got all walks of life in there, and they've got everything, and they've got the reservations involved. Like, I mean, it's like that is a good rendition.
It's a great show, and I like some great actors and actresses in there. It's fantastic. I love it. I love it. I wish there was some more cowboy stuff though. I wish they'd show some more like ropings and stuff like that. So that would have been fun, or maybe they will. Who knows?
Yeah. Interestingly,
the characters are built nice too. Like they get good backstories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good character development.
I like the bad guys they bring in. They bring in good bad guys.
Yeah, for sure. The dude from KC, that he was in an MMA. He was in a series that he was like an MMA instructor for a while. That was a good series.
That dude, I got to tell you, like he's one of those guys that like, you just like want to know his workout routine, and then you're like, he's totally doing HGH or something. It's like,
I'm with you. Like I make assumptions all the time on that. I'm like, yeah, you know what? That dude's like 10, 15 years older than me, and he's rocked up. I'm like, yeah, he's probably on something. He's on some sauce.
He's got to be on something.
Sure. He's on some sauce for sure.
There's no.
I'm like, how is it that my every other week I get in the gym for a couple of days? How am I not that rocked up? Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, man, I'm working out 5 days a week, doing jujitsu 2 or 3 times a week, and I'm getting back to where I can go, roll more. And I'm like, I'm getting on the scale and I'm looking at my body. I'm like, when the hell am I ever going to like get cut? It's just never going to happen,
Genetics, buddy. And it's about, you know what? Fitness is literally 90% of what you put into your body.
Yeah.
So there's that too. But hey, you know what? We all have our crosses to bear. But let's talk about this on another positive note.
Okay.
What's our Vikings?
Yeah.
I think they're down and out after the Chargers game. And they come back and they beat the Lions.
Yeah. They
and
never count them out.
So JJ looks like he's back. He didn't even have that, fantastic of a game from throwing the ball standpoint. We ran the ball well, but I mean, my goodness, we still need to get some edge pressure. But that's a massive win for us to go into Detroit and beat the Lions. To be 4-4, we couldn't. At 3-5, I don't know that the season's going in the right direction, but 4-4, and then the Packers lose. We're right there still.
Yeah, and didn't the Packers just lose their tight end? Didn't they?
They did. That dude's a stud too. Unfortunately, busted his ACL.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, man, that's a tough loss there. I don't wish injuries upon anybody. But again, in a sport where if you can only be one winner, we'll take every advantage we can get.
So it's interesting if you look at the North, that seems to be one of the more balanced divisions right now, because they're all teams can beat anybody. There's not
absolutely.
Chicago's even
Dude, Chicago's 5-4 right now, or 5-3 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
They're not even looking like Chicago.
No, and great job to Ben Johnson coming in there, and I mean that team was stacked though. They had some good young players. They were just that was one of those teams that 100% they knew if you got the right coach in there, that they were able to turn things around. And they started the year rough, and then I mean here they are. I mean you still got to play some defense, and then let's talk about Cincinnati. I mean Cincinnati, Flacco is rejuvenated. This dude's scoring 40 points a game, and they can't win.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm on the offensive side in Cincinnati, hey, I'm firing everybody on the defensive side, because I'm like, you might as well not be here because we're not stopping anybody.
Well, and they just traded away one of their linebackers. Let me look this up. I think it's...
Well, I mean, I'd be honest with you. If you're giving up, I mean, the last two games, they've scored over 30 points and lost. So, I mean, you got to be able to stop people at some point.
Yeah, so Cincinnati Bengals just traded Logan Wilson to the Dallas Cowboys for a 7th-round pick.
Probably not making that big of an impact on the team. No, I mean, not from that standpoint. I'm saying 7th-round pick, he's not definitely, he probably was a starter to trade for him, but.
He was benched for a rookie and requested a
there you go.
Requested a trade.
There you go. Come on. Although I would trade the entire defense at this point. 40. How do we lose when we score 42 points? How do you give up 45 points? Come on.
Yeah.
I digress.
So does Flacco have a shot at making the Pro Bowl with these?
Dude, he's putting up gaudy numbers. I would say so. He's putting up gaudy numbers right now. Absolutely, he's got a shot at making the Pro Bowl, and good for him. Oh, unfortunately, he's not getting the wins behind it, right? But I mean, clearly the guy can still play ball. Give it up for the old guys. Us old guys. We still want to show what we got every now and then.
Got Aaron Rodgers still. They knocked off the Colts.
Yep. Yeah. Right. The Colts have been playing lights out, so good on them. Yeah, I think the NFL is pretty competitive this year. I think you're seeing some teams that I don't think anybody saw the Ravens having a season like this. But you look at that Bills Chiefs game. I mean, that was fantastic. And then, the league is very competitive this year. It's fun to watch. But I think you're right. The North in both the AFC and the NFC are, but the NFC obviously is crazy tight, crazy packed. We get. The Vikings now, we beat the Bears in Chicago, beat Detroit in Detroit, so we get these teams back at home. So you got to like our chances of hopefully winning those two. And then I don't even know, have we played Green Bay yet? I don't think we played Green Bay yet.
No.
See, if you split with them, you still have a chance to win the division.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything can happen. As it goes, they were calling for people to get fired, a couple weeks ago, and saying that no one believed in McCarthy, and now everyone's like, oh yeah.
Dude, let's be honest. Fans are so what have you done for me now today? And I get it. I do get it. You definitely got to have some more long-term vision. I try to look at things as, try to break them down position wise. Where can we improve? It's not always systematically, right? And even Carson was actually throwing, Wentz was having a decent year. He got banged up, obviously played hurt. But the best thing about it, you got Aaron Jones back, which I think he might have got hurt in that game. But dude, Aaron Jones comes back and he's averaging 9.8 or 9 yards a carry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That changes your offense, right? So, I know as fans, you can get caught up in the emotions of things, but you got to try to have that, kudos to Kevin. And the whole staff over there for having a long-term vision and understanding what they got in those players. And JJ's young. I think, what happened was you come out, you have a game like you did against the Bears on Monday Night Football in your opener, right? And you look like garbage for the first 3 quarters, and then you're the world's greatest quarterback in the fourth quarter. quarter, and everybody's got these expectations and hope. And then, comes back, second game, looks very human, gets hurt. Now he comes back. Now you go beat Chicago, or you go beat the Rams. Beat the Lions up there. And so everybody's, oh, he's back. Everybody's just on this emotional roller coaster. I think you got to have some perspective and realize, even though it's his second year, he's still a rookie, right? This is his first year playing. You got to give the dude some ebbs and flows and how he's going to handle the situations and how he's going to grow. I look at things on the defensive side of the ball. I think, we need to definitely, get some more turnovers. I think, the interior guys are rushing the quarterback really well. So I look at kind of minute areas like that where we can improve, where we can get up our edge rushers going good. Van Ginkel just got back, and that dude's big for some huge splash plays. I think Harrison Smith is now back playing a more consistent role. So I'm hoping that, seeing how the defense usually has been lights out, then all of a sudden we get to the playoffs and they seem a little worn down. So I'm hoping now that, we dealt with some injuries and if the team can start getting healthy and build towards the latter part of the year, that's when you want to be clicked in, and maybe we can, like I said, the North is going to take everything just to win that division and hopefully get a home game for the playoffs. But if we can get ourselves just in the tournament and they're healthy, I think if they keep building on that momentum, we could maybe make a run. I keep saying we. I've turned into that fan that says we. Now I feel like I'm a little more vested in the organization than most, but
yeah, I mean, you led the skull chant, so I think it's okay.
I did, which, again, I thought that was going to be the dumbest thing when they started it. I have to be honest with everybody. Never was a massive fan of the skull chant. The first time I came back and they were telling me about it, and I'm like, what? This is just ridiculous. Like, this is what? I'm like, oh my gosh. And kudos to the fans for owning that. And now it's skull. It's pretty dope now. I'll say they made a believer out of me.
All right, so what's better, the beating of the drum in Kansas City or the skull chant?
Ooh, two big things. And both of them are in the rafters. Why you got to put people in the rafters? So I'm gonna say this. Everybody knows my heart is in Minnesota, but I'm gonna choose the beating of the drum because I physically get to beat the drum. Right? I get to wail on that thing. And little breaking news, people. We're not really blowing the horn. It's like and you have to pretend. You have to do like, and I'm like, you want me to put my mouth on something that everybody else is pretending to put their mouth on? And then I've just high-fived like 65 people going to it. So I'm like, I'm like trying to, I'm going to left hand. I'm going to put block my mouth with my left hand.
What if they brought in like, you
I want to blow the horn.
Oh, you want to blow the horn?
That's what I'm saying. I want like a conch, like, Lord of the Flies style. Let me physically try to make a sound from a horn. I get it from a production standpoint, doesn't make sense, but at least in KC, they let you actually physically beat that drum.
Maybe you could talk to the Vikings about letting you beat something. They could bring in someone dressed as I don't know, like an English overlord coming to overtake
I will say the Vikings entrance, though, I'm jealous that we didn't have that when we were there. We got the little blow-up tunnel. I mean, they got fire now, fog. They got the ship rolling out. This Norseman Odin voice just coming full throttle into the fans. I'm not going to lie. The Vikings entrance is one of the best in football. Those players are quite lucky in that standpoint.
I like it. I want to talk about someone who's near and dear to your heart, and I feel like we need to give some love to an Oklahoma State player after we had Brad Penny on recently wearing an OU hat. So
greatest interest to the show. Just
right.
Just OU. Suck it, Fred.
Yeah, that was. I feel like I need to cleanse this show. Well, let's talk about Kevin Williams in Oklahoma State. Great, and your former teammate. There's been a lot of talk about him. For the Hall of Fame, and it's just one of those. He was such a beast in the league, and I'm actually, when you told me he wasn't in the Hall of Fame, kind of like you not being in the Hall of Fame, I was like, what? So
dude, a 5-time All-Pro. I think he's one of like one or two like 5-time All-Pros. Like we talked about that one time on a show, like what was more important, Pro Bowls or All-Pros? All-Pro hand down. And this dude was a 5-time All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler. He's an absolute stud. And I just saw the latest list that came out. He made the cut. I don't think they're to the semifinals yet, but he's still on the ballot for this year, for 2026 Hall of Fame. The man deserves to be in the finals. The man deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And I say that with a complete bias. I'm completely biased towards Kevin Williams just because, I've played with so many people but more importantly, I've seen his work day to day to day, what he does in practice, what he means in that locker room, how effortlessly, I mean, he just would do his job. You see guys like, there's a lot of guys that play that interior DN, that, 3-4 DN, D tackle, 3 technique. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know many people that did it better than him. And he was an absolute beast, and he deserves his spoils, if you will.
I mean, let's take a look at some of I thought Deion Sanders said something a few years ago about the Hall of Fame that always stuck with me. He's like, we need to put people in who changed the game. And I was like, I mean, he absolutely did change the game. He was like double and triple teamed. And I was like, is that not changing the game?
Oh, 100%. And look at the pathway, of what he did. Kevin was drawing that intention to the interior pass. I mean, you had Randall McDaniel, don't get me wrong. You had, obviously Reggie White. These guys are monsters. But Kevin was right on that path. And you look at what he did, before Aaron Donald comes in the league, right? Now guys like Aaron Donald, Kevin's, obviously off the back of interior pass rushing, the important, but Kevin's a first round pick. Aaron Donald comes in. And if guys like that aren't having success in those positions lose value, right? So if you don't carry that weight, if you don't carry that interior, and so what Kevin did in the beginning of his career, he didn't really have a whole lot of edge help till I got there. They didn't have any double-digit edge guys. And so here you go, you got an interior guy, which getting to the quarterback in the interior is already tougher, right? Because a lot of times you're getting, side two, it's hand-to-hand combat real quick, right? Not a lot of space. So, and you're a higher draft pick, you're coming with all these expectations, and you're the only real pass rush, real threat. So you're getting all the attention, and doing it from an interior spot was absolutely impressive. So yeah, I would say Kevin, like you're going to put him down as, someone who changed that position. But what he did, he solidified that position on so many levels, right? He solidified the importance of a 3 technique. And not only that, he just did it not just by getting sack numbers. I mean, the dude was a force in the run game. I mean, he's a technician. So, I mean, from a standpoint of you reward greatness, right? And you can talk about it, and he has the numbers to support it as well. But you go through and look what he did from a fundamental standpoint. So anybody that knows the game of football, just go watch his tape. What he did from a fundamental standpoint, how he set the tone, how he took away half the defense, that is changing the game. When you can cut a defensive half in half pretty much by one player, changing the game. So I understand what Deion was trying to say with that. Someone asked me that question, a few weeks ago in an interview, and my position still stays the same. It's a lot of it's subjective, right? There's guys that I have way better numbers than, that are in the Hall of Fame, but that are very significant to me, right? And how they played the game, and what they did for that position. Like I said, I tell people one of the greatest moments of being in Canton this year was getting to sit and talk and hang out with Mean Joe Green. You know what I mean? Like that Mean Joe Green was, I mean, he was just a force in so many different ways. So, I think, as the hall, the voters, everybody, take a look at, tightening up the criteria to get in, and really making sure that, it's not based on, this presenter is better than this presenter or this, that, and the other, and trying to remove some of the politics from it. At the end of the day, put guys' film on, let guys that know football watch it. The stats are going to be the stats. There's going to be some minimum bars that you got to hit from probably, totals, probably years in the league. But at the end of the day, where Deion is 100% correct, you got to put ballers in, you know what I mean? And guys that were an absolute force, and that had to be, and not just for a year or two. I mean, you have to sustain, right? And Kevin Williams absolutely meets all those standards of greatness in my personal opinion.
I love what you said about he solidified the position and he made the position important, because there was a time in the league where everything was getting smaller right there. Like they weren't
correct.
They weren't like hogs just sucking up guards and centers to block them. They moved people around, and then Aaron Donald comes and Ndamukong Suh's here. So I feel like Kevin Williams is a part of the evolution that became Aaron Donald, and I like how you said that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I can't remember before Kevin, again, someone fact check me, please, but I can't remember when like a true 3 technique was taken.
Maybe Warren Sapp? Maybe
that high of a position. But yeah, there you go. Warren Sapp, a Hall of Famer, right? Again, a guy who was cutting off half a defense, but not just in the run game, but also in the pass game, right? So you look at those greats. You look at some of the great 3 techniques that play this game. And, in a time, especially when Kevin's a year older than me, right? But edge pressure was a massive thing because, you had Jason Taylor in the league at that time. You got, Grant Winstrom was on a good run in those times. You had, obviously, Dwight Freeney, there was some good edge. Then this evolution of the 3-4 comes along with Sean Merriman and guys like that. We can put linebackers out there. You had Terrell Suggs, doing things off the edge. So edge pressure was a massive focus in the NFL, and it still is. So for Kevin Williams to be such a monster in college, to be a top 10 pick, I think he was top 10 pick, wasn't he? He was a first round pick. I want to say he was like 8 or so. He might have been. I don't know why 13 is sitting in my name, but anyways, first round pick, right? And to go out there and put it on people for the tune of 5 times All Pro. I mean, it's insane. The guy deserves to be there, and he did it. Most of it, always in a small market. He got to. Like me, he got to play. He got to play in a super 9th.
He was a 9th overall pick, 2003.
Yep. And then to go and he got to play in a Super Bowl. Was a yard short. He played in that Super Bowl with Seattle when they lost it on the 1 yard line.
Probably the dumbest call in the history of football.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, the guy. I just encourage the voters and the powers that be, watch the film. Talk to people that actually know the game. Talk to people that play with them. Talk to people that know the technique and just the effortless way he dominated grown men. And there's a lot of. I mean, this list is a long list. I mean, this is going to be a class. I don't envy being a voter in this class. I mean, there's a lot of great
you don't
receivers,
get a vote?
quarterback. No, we don't vote. There's a couple. There's a few guys that are in the Hall of Fame that are voters. I'm not one of them. And to be honest, man, there's some tough criteria. The wide receiver position is jam packed.
Yeah.
That's the only problem with the Hall. There's not a lot of transparency of what qualifies, right? Or what they're looking at in particular years, or, why somebody, like in my case, no clue why it took me 5 years, and there was no good answer, So, you just kind of have to, take what you go. And Kevin's such a great human being too. That's what makes it hard. So yeah, this is me stumping for the last 8 minutes on my soapbox for Kevin Williams.
Where does Kevin stand on conspiracy theories? Has he got any good?
I don't know. He's a quiet guy, but he's freaking funny. So we're gonna get him on the podcast and we're gonna drag him down the rabbit hole and see what his.
I like it.
So he's from L.A., Lower Arkansas. So he's literally the best. But yeah, we're gonna get him on, and you know what? Let's start a Kevin Williams, HOF for Hall of Fame.
We should, and we have influence here at Fourth and Neat.
Heck
especially,
yeah, let's get it.
Especially if any of the Hall of Fame voters are bourbon fans. I've been known to drop a little bourbon here and there for people. So
yeah, hey, it's not bribery; it's just sharing.
Yeah,
it's
not illegal.
No, hey, listen, you want to have a drink and talk about Kevin Williams? Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, I mean, if you were running for office and you bribe people with alcohol, that's illegal. You can't do that.
That's illegal.
Yeah, we're not talking office or changing the world.
No, it's just, hey, listen, I appreciate you giving me your ear to let me talk to you about something.
Yeah.
Here's something I enjoy. Here's a delicious sample of some beaver. And
then an envelope.
Bourbon in an envelope. It's the old manila envelope. You can be handing court documents to somebody, and if you pass me or I see someone passing a manila envelope, I'm like, that dude's up to something shady. That dude is no good. Man, TV has really brainwashed us, has they not? My God.
I was at a wedding once where I saw someone go up to the groom and give him an envelope full of cash.
It was in the shirt pocket?
Yeah.
In the shirt pocket, super inconspicuous.
And I was like, that's just like a Casino or Godfather. What are those movies?
He was paying a dowry. Paying a dowry.
He's like, tell your mother I said hello. Something like that. But
what accent was that?
I have no idea. It's whatever I got.
Oh, if it wasn't completely offensive to everybody, we should just do a show one time in our best accents.
What is your best accent?
It's terrible. Everything somehow leads back to Irish.
Give it to me.
I'm just like, good day, mate. And that's it. I just went Australian. I don't even know where that one came from. I said Irish, and I just went, good day, mate. Like, it's like Dumb and Dumber. Put another shrimp on the bobby. Yeah, see, I'm terrible. Or I just go like straight, like just straight country. Like, anytime I talk about my dad, same way. I'm just like, yeah, y'all know. And I'm like your dad's doesn't have a southern accent. I know, but maybe he does now. Who knows? I don't know.
I do declare that he may have a southern accent. Yeah, come on here.
That's a very specific one. That's like Colonel Sanders, freaking Judge Schmales. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've modeled it after Froghorn Leghorn. The
Leghorn,
who apparently has been deemed offensive. Who has not been deemed offensive from
Let's
our
be
cartoon
honest.
days?
Everything's offensive. I want to go back to those days. I want to go back to the 80s and 90s where things were just funny and people laughed at themselves. No one has a sense of humor anymore.
Everyone boycotts everything.
Boycotts everything, whines about everything. Mm-hmm. Everybody can have an opinion, but God forbid you have an opinion that's different than theirs, and then it's offensive.
Even the small things, like, we're both very passionate about good food. Like, I remember, like, someone's like, well, you're a snob because you like to, eat at nice restaurants to me.
You were wearing an ascot, though, in their defense.
I mean, there was that.
You were talking in this southern gentleman type voice.
I was merely saying, sir.
And you did ask the guy to park your car, and he's like, I don't work here.
I do get accused of being a snob.
But you know what? I am a lake snob. I don't apologize for being a snob about certain things. I don't apologize about it. You know what? You know what you like, and that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, and again, ignorance is no longer an excuse. There's just too much information out there. So, and then but the feelings, getting hurt, like everybody's so dang sensitive, like toughen up, let's, and laugh and be able to have different things, opinions, come back on what the viewpoints that you do agree on. And just people need a sense of humor. I'm not gonna lie. Not everything needs to be the most serious conversation ever. That's why I couldn't survive corporate America. I'm like, do these people ever giggle? And yes, they use the word giggle.
Yeah.
Imagine there was more like giggling in a boardroom. Like, hee.
They're too busy trying to crunch numbers. When everything comes down to like numbers, I'm out. Like, it's so boring.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, it is what it is. But I get it. The world must go around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
imagine how cool. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, have you ever been to an NFL boardroom meeting, or a meeting of owners or anything like that?
Yeah, I've been to owners meetings. NFL owners are not very, I'm convinced once you become a billionaire, the price to being a billionaire is your sense of humor. You have to give up your sense of humor to be a billionaire. And you can no longer, like childish things. You always have to wear some form of slack and a sport coat.
Could you imagine, like, at an NFL owners meeting, like someone just ripping a fart?
No, but they should, because everybody poops and farts, Fred. It happens.
So one of your former teammates, one of his big things was Brett Favre would go into a huddle and fart.
Yeah.
Like, was that really a thing? Did he just like fart?
I've never been in the huddle with him, but I'm like, kudos to him being able to fart on command like that. Like, that's a special talent.
That is a skill.
Right? But no, again, I think I'm not advocating farting in boardrooms, but it'd be funny. You should be able to laugh at farts, though, still. Like, that's still funny.
It's actually, you shouldn't keep the gas trapped inside, So,
it's unhealthy. It is unhealthy, actually, to keep it trapped inside. They say after dinner, you should take a walk.
Here at Fourth and Neat, we are all about farting in boardroom.
Yes, boardroom farting.
Begin the boardroom farting.
Oh, guys, let me clear this one. But no, I do think it is. It's everything is like so serious. Even like when they're watching games together, you're like, I just wonder. And it's like, I love the Wilfs. The Hunts have been fantastic. But I'm like, you can't be that stiff all the time. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, the Wilfs are more relaxed. Ziggy's he can be relaxed. But I'm like, at some point, do you just lay around your sweats? Because we're all human. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, do you just lay around your sweats? Do you have a day you veg? Do you wake up every morning and put a sport coat on? I don't know. I have questions, Fred. I'm not a billionaire. I don't know the dress codes of a billionaire.
Well, there are players now who are minority owners. You got Charles Woodson, and he's got a great sense of humor. I've hung out with Charles a few times.
Yeah, minority owner though. He's not.
And Tom Brady's an owner.
Where are these guys get? I mean, Tom Brady, I know where that cash flow is coming. Richard Seymour is also an owner, right? I know how much money I made playing football, and I know how much money I've saved, and I've done well for myself. And I don't have the kind of money to buy minority stakes in these $6 billion teams. Where are these guys finding this cash? I'm just curious. They're leveraging debt? I'm not a debt guy, though.
I don't know. In the case of Charles, I think he got into the wine and spirits game pretty early.
Yeah,
not saying he made a
Is he part of the Raiders? What organization does he own?
He owns a piece of the Browns.
I mean, come on. I think everybody can afford a piece of the Browns. Just kidding, Charles. You know I love you. I love Charles. I do. I am a Charles Woodson fan. That dude's amazing. I mean, yes, he loves an ascot. Oh, my goodness. We're off the rails now. We're off the rails. Maybe what's a fleeting franchise that we could go buy a couple shares of?
Well, Louisville just announced a new football team, a part of the UFL.
Okay, so start in the underleagues there and work our way up. Okay.
And
I believe everybody wants to buy like TJ Watt or JJ Watt. I mean, he has like a piece of everyone wants to buy a soccer team these days too.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. Is it cash flowing? I mean, are you ever really, what's, that's what I say. I don't know how Richard Seymour got in on we maybe should have him on and ask him how he got in on the Raiders parlay. I need to ask the Vikings. Like, can I have some equity?
Hey,
can I be a part owner of the Vikings?
And then you would help them develop the horn, like develop a new horn, maybe some sweat equity there.
You think you just got to put but I get it from a hygiene state. You don't really want to blow the horn. I just want some action. I want to be able to actually physically see if I can blow. But can you imagine if you're out there blowing the horn? It was like,
it would be like take me out to the ballpark at the Cubs when someone sang it poorly. It would just be on a loop.
But you expected it to be sung poorly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They kind of brought that human element to it where the fans actually thought they were part of it. But
yeah, so Charles owns, according to my Google, he owns 0.1% stake of the teams.
0.1%, okay.
Mm-hmm. So that'll do it for you. Unfortunately, he can no longer play for the Browns. He could probably actually use him.
Maybe that was gifted to him just so they could say Charles Woodson was a part owner of the Browns.
They need something.
They're cursed, man. I'm telling you, that team is cursed.
Yeah.
They got to get a quarterback. They got to do something at that quarterback position.
Well, they got Massage Watson, still waiting to come out,
But, Massage Watson?
I'm sorry, Deshaun Watson. Sorry, that's my son's nickname for him after
not funny, but very funny.
Not funny at all.
That guy, I mean, talk about, he had a fully guaranteed contract. I think he got paid like $200 million not to play. That's like the guy who did that was like the SoftBank, not the SoftBank, but that was like the WeWork CEO. Dude made $800 million to completely just fail miserably, bankrupt an entire company. SoftBank paid like $1 billion to get rid of him. We got to get now. How do we get in that world? How do we get to where we can, drive a company into bankruptcy and still make $800 million?
See, the question is though, do we lose our sense of humor when we do that? Because you stated very factually, once you get that B, you ain't funny anymore.
Yeah, but I feel like those guys are laughing all the way to the bank because they pulled over the world's biggest scams on people.
And hiding in Panama,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that you have to, you have to be willing to hide from everybody you just raked over the coals. You have to go where you can't be
extradited.
Oh, my goodness. That dude basically ran a legal Ponzi scheme and got paid for it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's, who knows what's going to happen in the world of investments, but I think there's quite a few of those things happening right now. Something just hit in the spirits industry. Campari, the Italian government seized a bunch of assets at Campari for not paying taxes, and
government will always get you got to pay taxes. That is one thing. I mean, you can literally murder people and probably, get away with it versus trying to beat the IRS or any country. Mm-hmm.
Not that we condone murdering people here on 4th.
No, absolutely not. But again, in the world we live in, we have to state that because someone would be like, you know.
This has been a ridiculous episode. We didn't have any notes. We just like it's
ridiculously awesome.
We're not even drinking.
These are my favorite episodes.
I agree.
My goodness. So, shooting the breeze. That's what it should have been called. Shooting the breeze.
Well, hey man, I know you're out on the enjoying some time. You've got your curling coming up. Tell us about curling and what are your expectations?
I'm playing with house money, so we are playing in the Grand Slam of Curling. It's the first GSOC event in the United States. I'm an investor in a company that owns the Grand Slams of Curling. And so we didn't have a USA team because they're getting ready for Olympic trials. So myself, one of my old teammates who's Olympians, Jason Smith, and then Johnny Morris from Canada and Wayne Madaw from Canada, two of the most decorated curlers in the history of the world. Johnny's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. Wayne has won 3 world championships at 3 different positions, been to the Briar 1,000 times. So they asked if we would kind of come and put a team together and on a sponsor exemption to come. So to be qualified for the Grand Slam of curling, you have to be top 15 players in the world. Now I've played a lot of these teams over my course of my curling career. And so, we have a very, very, very decorated team that I get the pleasure of playing with. So we're going out there. So my expectations are nothing. We're going to go out there. We're going to have fun. We're going to compete. Be honest. Hey, but if they leave us an opening, we're capable of winning some games here. And so we're going to go out there and compete our butts off and have fun doing it. And, try to shine the light on the great sport of curling.
I love that. I need you to show me how to play. I've always been fascinated with it.
It's fascinating. Come on down to, we got a great setup in Nashville. Mark Bolger, he owns T-Line Curling there in Nashville, and the setup is fantastic. They do a great job. The ice is great. So yeah, come on down, and maybe we'll do a fourth and need on the ice.
I like that. I do have this. I feel like I'd be a good sweeper.
Okay.
I feel like I could do that all right. I don't think. What do you call it when you're pushing the puck?
Throwing the rock. So everybody throws 2 stones. So
everyone throws.
I played lead, so everybody throws 2, and the only person that doesn't really sweep is the skip. He's the one in the bullseye calling the shots.
And do you ever slip on the ice?
I do. I fall a lot. It happens. It does happen. Yeah, I know how to fall.
It's like fakely. I got the slap outs going.
Don't worry, guys. I'm an athlete.
Well, good luck, man. It's always a pleasure. Hopefully you take gold, and since you are an investor in it, you technically do own a piece of a pro leagues.
True. It's there now. Curling,
pretty cool.
Curling is much more affordable.
Yeah, you just got to get in the pickleball game. That's where the money's at.
Dude, that is a massive sport.
Can you imagine investing in that like 15 years ago?
No, but but what league? I think there's a bunch of leagues. It's kind of like a free-for-all right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to kind of consolidate, I think.
You know what sport I'm really into, and I've just kind of like, it happened when we were in St. Lucia, is cricket. I just started watching a cricket match with Jacqueline. We were at the bar, and became enthralled with it.
Yeah, and 3 days later, you're still watching the same match.
Still watching it.
Yeah, we used to do that in college.
It's so
Put a cricket
fascinating.
match on for a week.
Yeah. And, they will actually stop the match to eat lunch, and they show the players, like, literally eating. And
yeah. I can't remember what they're called, but the big long ones are kind of like 2-day deals. I mean, it's like a whole festival.
Yeah.
I'm like, my goodness. Cool. Yeah, we used to watch cricket in college. Summer, put a cricket game on. What are you doing?
Yeah, Idaho State's got the biggest cricket ratings in the whole country. Well, hey man, that's gonna do it for this episode of Fourth and Neat.
That is absolutely gonna do it on that comment right there.
Everybody, make sure you like and subscribe. Tell a friend and tweet or share with whoever you can that Kevin Williams should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir.
Cheers, everybody.
See ya.